Oh, good morning, good morning.
Good morning.
It's a good day. We are continuing with the reading of the law,
Mhm.
moving forward, because you guys are running out of time, not me.
Mm.
You're going to learn the hard way. So when the Most High says, I'm going to prove you, talking to me, right? I'm going to prove, it means you're either going to see what you believe or what I believe. And
Mm.
when we're talking about beliefs, there's a difference between the two. Okay? You and the millions of you that are doing what you're doing and saying what you're saying, you're going to have to stand against me. Now, I'm alone.
Mm.
Okay? I'm alone. It's me, and I got my sister here, and my wife, and I got a couple of brothers, and that's about it that know what I'm doing and have decided to come out and build this great work. So one of us going to be right and the other is going to be
Mm.
wrong. So the process will go as it does go. And according to my instructions, all the places where you are will continuously decline
Mm.
over the next few years. And some places will be completely uninhabitable. So it will decline, it will come down, it will be in absolute and utter destruction. So let's see. And once it gets there, I should be on the rise, right? If I'm on the rise, you're on the way down. Okay? If I'm on the way down, then it's the same. The world continues in this chaotic belief system and we move forward,
Mm.
right? Because everybody's smart. Everybody's got their own truth now. I don't have my own. This one I got from here. And when
Mm.
I came out in the land, it worked.
Mm.
Like on amazing levels, it works. But somebody has to become the people.
Mm.
And since the fake people not being the people and the real people don't want to get up to become the people, they waiting for something. You're going to find yourself when you're not doing what your father says do, you're going to get your ass whooped
Mm. Correction and chastisement, huh?
because you had the opportunity to walk in obedience and you elected not to, choosing to believe a lie. Even though you know it's a lie, you still believe it. So,
And you pretty much prefer to walk in hate than to walk in the love.
okay.
Mm.
Now, today we go into chapter 16, verse 1. Be mindful to keep the times of the festival. Okay? So, as you can clearly see, right in time, here we at the end of the first year. I've just gotten back. I came back during the Pesach time. Pesach is in the fall. We've kind of established that a couple of times,
Mm-hmm.
even though you guys are getting ready to do Pesach now. So it says to be mindful. This is something to think about, to be careful about, to consider. With the intercalations of the year, I'll give you a brief demonstration. So the time is fixed, right? But it has its adjustments.
Mm.
And you have to intercalate or insert the proper times of the year so it works together like a machine, like a car. All the parts and pieces work together to form a function.
Mm-hmm.
So when you saw me reset the time and adjust, right? I had to adjust because the new moon had not shown, right? I
Mm-hmm.
didn't see the proper new moon in the month. So if the new moon comes in and I know I can make this adjustment only in the first year, then I make the adjustment. I intercalate, intercalculate. I make an adjustment for the time. Once I make the adjustment for the time, I put the new moon where it's supposed to be and set the rest of the year accordingly.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? Every month only has 28 days. The new moon inserts itself 2 days or 3 days into a month,
Like gears.
just like a year. And if you don't use the proper insertion, the machine don't work.
Hmm.
You can go day one and then just count 364 days and come back to day one. However, you will not know the observance of the festival days. Okay? So now you know there's 364 days a year only. We have observed the new moon and it comes in 10 days too soon. We've made an adjustment for our time.
Mm-hmm.
And we are now moving forward with the rest of the year and to set the rest of the festival days. So the Feast of Trumpets is coming up this week.
Mm-hmm.
All right? What you call Saturday. Friday will be Shabbat.
Mm-hmm.
Saturday will be the Festival of Trumpets, the first day.
Mm-hmm.
So we got this instructions. Be mindful to keep the times with the intercalations of the year and to observe the rotation thereof.
Wow. So there is specific instructions on how to be mindful to keep the times of the festival. You just don't keep the festival.
Right.
It is fashioned to be kept
In
a certain
a
way.
certain way. It, there's no need to appoint a watch, right?
Mm-hmm.
A lookout for something that is not moving.
Mm-hmm. Right, because it's fixed. It's
If it's
fixed.
fixed, right? It happens the same way, the same time every year, and there's no need for an adjustment or for something to be inserted. Then there's no need for a watch.
Right, but it states here that there's a rotation.
So if there's a rotation, and it states to observe. Keyword, word,
Observe.
observe. So now you know if the new moon comes in before a festival day, you observe the new moon in its time
Mm-hmm.
and delay the festival
Festival.
day to
Mm-hmm.
its time.
Mm.
So you deal with each month separately to complete the year. You deal with each year separately because at the rotation of the year is every 7. So at the end of the 7th year, there's a new rotational adjustment.
Mm.
Okay? So while the time periods are fixed, you must account for the rotational things where the years rotate, where the moon rotates. The moon moves. It doesn't just pop up 10 days too soon.
Right.
It moves a little bit every month. Some months is more obvious than others. So the new moon of the fourth month comes in 3 days too soon. The new moon of the seventh month comes in 5 days too soon. The new moon of the 10th month comes in 7 days too soon. 3, 5, 7, and then in the 12th month, it is 10 days too soon. So now when you go back into the first month, it may come in exactly 28 days, or it may come in 1 day, even sooner. So there's an adjustment for its rotation. That's why it has to be an observance. Why do the priests observe and look and keep a watch 24 hours a day? Because the moon may show itself during the day or at night. It may come in the setting of the sun or at the sun's rising. There must be an observation, because if we need to call for this festival which inserts itself, you have to have an observation going. Well, Ak, how are you keeping the observation? You can't stay up 24 hours a day. You're right. That's not the only reason why the priesthood is up 24 hours. But since they are up 24 hours to keep the service inside of the temple going, that's why it's appointed to them to keep the watch. I watch it by system. I know how many weeks, and every 3 weeks I go into a week of watch. But I know when to watch because in the last week, it's early in the morning when I get up. I know it's at dawn to see when the new moon is coming in. You don't know that. You've never done it in the land.
Well, isn't the priest service work done in a rotation?
It's also in a rotation, yeah. But everybody's in a rotation.
Rotation.
Like the service of the military, the service in the tabernacle, the service in governmental offices is done in a rotation. And the reason why it's done in a rotation is because every person has their own personal properties and wealth to maintain. You see? So you have to observe the rotation thereof. Okay? In the month of Abiba, which is Nisan, to perform the Pascha, before Yahya your Allah, because in Abiba, which is Nisan, Yahya your Allah brought you out of Mitzrayim. You shall eat it, therefore, by night. So Passover is not all day. It's on the 14th. You were resting all day, but you do the Passover at night. It's a night barbecue. By night. You shall sacrifice the Pascha before Yahya your Allah between the suns, and that's the moment the sun is hidden from you. Okay? It duck over a hill or behind a mountain, you start your preparations. Between the suns, and the sheep and the bullocks on the morrow, the next day. Okay? So the sheep and the bullocks are done on the morrow, on the 15th. So there is Passover, it's at night. Then immediately following, the next day, we're going into unleavened bread, and it has its sacrifices. So this tells you when you're going in to sacrifice these things. When you're coming in to sacrifice your lambs, your sheep, your goats, it must be in this specific order.
So that's why whatever meat is left over from the pasture is to be burned.
It's finished.
It's finished
That's
because now
Passover.
we're
We
entering
have to enter into
into
unleavened bread, and it has its own
own
ordinance.
ordinance.
And you
Okay.
can't mingle the two.
Right.
And you also have to have your own sheep, lambs, and
Lambs
goats
to do it.
to do it.
Yes. Okay.
Okay.
Verse 3.
All right. Wait a minute. Okay. So you shall sacrifice the Pascha before your Allah between the suns. This is the late afternoon time.
Okay.
Okay. Once the sun duck behind the mountain, the hill. Okay. It's down, but it's still light out. Because you're gonna need light. You gotta get the sheep from the holding place. You gotta do the slaughtering. You gotta take care of the blood. You're out handling sharp knives. On the same day, to rejoice in the feast at the place, there's a location
Location.
which Yah will choose to make his Shekinah to dwell there. So why is this important? It keeps saying at the place. So the sanctuary, when it is built, initially is a small thing. Okay? It's a small thing and it has to grow. You're not going to receive the whole totality of the land at one time. You're going to get it little by little and bit by bit. Wherever the sanctuary is, that's where you're going to keep the Passover together in the beginning. Once you have the fullness of the land and the nations, you can keep it in your land, in your nations. There's a reason for this. You have to be big enough to consume the land so that you are together. It must be kept together. But when you are small, it can be in any place where the sanctuary is together. It's about togetherness. Also, in the Passover, there is an ordinance to be co-mingled. What does that mean? You don't encamp in camps. You encamp mixed up. Wherever you want to be, wherever you want to put it, you can put that anywhere. You shall not eat unleavened bread with the Pascha. This is a preparatory thing. You don't have time to put the leaven out on the Passover because there's Shabbat in the morning.
Right. Don't have time to rest, to rise.
You don't. You have to put the leaven out the house, so you can't
that's
work.
Right.
Okay? You shall not eat unleavened bread with the Pascha. 7 days you shall eat unleavened bread unto his name, the Most High's name. Bismillah. Okay? In the name of God, in the name of Allah. Bismillah. The unleavened bread of humiliation. So you see that word right there?
Yes.
Humiliation is the foundation of humbleness. Humbleness is built on humiliation. Okay? And it's the humiliation for with haste you went forth from the land of Mitzrayim. Now, when we get back, you'll see that the Most High will tell them, this generation, you will not leave in haste. But they left with haste in Mitzrayim. They were rushed out. Instead, for this generation, this Exodus is going to be a 40-year process. So you see, that's why I say I'm not worried about it. I don't want this wicked generation here. I don't want you here. And I'm talking to the wicked generation. I don't want you. After you've been purged in the wilderness, I'll take you then. After you've seen the destruction of the West, I'll take you then. But you're not going to come any time before that. Not one moment. Okay? Well, you got these other brothers, how they get in? Obedience is the key.
They save themselves.
They save themselves. I have to do what is lawful and right. So when I give the lawful instruction, they accept it and they obey it. That merits what they get because I have to give according to their actions. They are circumspect to my word, meaning we sit down and we consider all the options. And then when we finish, they do what I tell them to do because it's for their best interest. So there was a humiliating thing the way they left out of Egypt because they left with haste. And this is that you may remember the day of your outgoing from the land of Mitzrayim all the days of your life. So when they left out in Mitzrayim, they could not observe the next festival day for the 15th. Right? The unleavened bread is 7 days.
Yeah.
They didn't observe it.
Right.
It's established beforehand. But what's happening now? I'm going to show you something you've never seen before. So the festival days are tied to events,
Okay.
right? They are tied to events. Okay? So major events in our history will happen on the festival day. So when they were having the unleavened bread before, you understand? Before Abraham, when he's having unleavened bread, Isaac, Adam, when he's observing unleavened bread, observing the Pascha feast. So you observe the Pascha, then there's unleavened bread, and there's a festival for 7 days. They don't even know why they having it, but they having it. Right? When they come out of Egypt, nobody is making a sacrifice on the 15th day. You can't cook and walk. Right? We leaving from here over here and you cooking. No. So when they left, they had so much stuff. They had the bread rolled out and they had it on top of the we have like woks here. Okay? They look like a wok. But we use it for baking bread. We don't use it for stir fry. Okay? But we make the unleavened bread on it. So they had the bread, and our unleavened bread is very thin and it cooks very fast. So when they had the woks on their head and they had the dough rolled out sitting on top, the dough cooked in the hot sun.
Wow.
While they were walking. And so then they had unleavened bread. So it's the same situation. But they didn't observe the feast in the coming out of Egypt. The unleavened bread marks the 7 days that it took to cross the Red Sea. Okay?
Wow, for them not to be able to do it, that is kind of humiliating not to be able.
They kept the Passover.
Right.
They got up and had to leave with haste. And they had to just pack up what they could. They took the valuables, tents, whatever they could. And that's why they had to observe the Passover dressed, which is why we observe the Passover at night dressed. With your staff in your hand, because They finished the feast that night. When they got up, it was early in the morning, right before sunrise, and Pharaoh made them go.
So when Yah gave these instructions with the festivals in general for us to keep, it wasn't just something he was just doing starting with us. These festivals were done
They
previously
come down from
throughout the
Adam.
time. They came down.
They came
So
down
we
from
were
Adam.
just restoring. He was just restoring it
Right.
with us.
So our lifestyle, our laws, and our customs and traditions come from Adam. And they're passed down from generation to generation. That's why they call it the old wine. Like we say,
Yes,
oh, it's old wine. He's
yes.
old wine, or he's old school.
Right.
He's doing it the real legit way. And this is what they say. We'll be back after this. Hello. All right, we're back. So that we may remember the day of your outgoing from the land of Mitzrayim all the days of your life. So we're at our stage, we're hosting it in remembrance of the day that the Most High appointed. In their time, they went through the experience and had to eat it because of a humiliating thing, being forced out of Egypt in haste, right? Being kicked out of Egypt.
Yeah, they were kicked out.
You were kicked out. They were forced out in haste. Now you're talking about before them, they're observing it out of instruction. You see, there's levels to this. So there's an instruction and do it. Moses said it. We're doing it out of instruction and obedience. This is faith. When the experience happened, you're doing it because you need to. This happened. And then afterwards, you're doing it in memorial. Before, when they were observing the Day of Atonement, they didn't know what they were observing it for. But it is on the Day of Atonement that they sold their brother Joseph into captivity. You see? Now, after this, the Day of Atonement is in memorial for Joseph that they sold into captivity. You see? And so now, you see now, it's the observance of this. And then when they find their brother alive and he prepares for them, he prepared for them in Egypt. You see? So now one go into captivity, all go into captivity.
Right, because you start the count of the captivity from when the deal went down with Joseph.
Exactly. One come out of captivity, all come out of captivity.
Wow, together.
If you're on the move, one goes ahead and prepares for you, rising to prominent status, so that you may come into that. Now that we've gone through that and we're now in captivity again, to come out, you have to, the same mechanism works coming out. One is raised up, he comes out, he'll rise to a prominent status, not in the world, in the family.
Among our people.
It's raised up from among your brethren. It's not raised up to the nation. So he has to be raised up from among your brethren. It's not somebody raised up and he have, great fame and great fortune and great. No. He is recognized by blood right and birthright among the brethren of the tribes. And when I say tribes, there's 36. It's 36. 12 tribes of Israel, 12 tribes of Esau,
Yeah.
and 12 tribes of Ishmael. There's 36 of us. There's 36 nations.
Wow.
That's it. You know, most people don't get that. You think that, oh, the 12 tribes. No, we are all under the covenant of Abraham, right? And let's not forget, Lot got his covenant and portion with us too.
Wow.
That's why we're in Jordan now. You have to understand everything is the depth of the knowledge and the depth of the information goes deeper than your superficial reading. And it's not religious and magical and full of fantasy. No, these are hard facts. And the way things work, you have to learn. You have to learn the customs and the procedures and how you have to function within them. Take heed that in the beginning of the Pascha there be no leaven seen among you within your borders for 7 days, and that none of the flesh which you sacrifice in the evening of the first day remain until the morning. It will not be allowed you to eat the Pascha in any one of your cities which Yah your Allah giveth you, but in the place which Yah your Allah will choose to make his Shekinah to dwell there. So what happens? And you don't know this, but it is divisible. What are you talking about, Rabbi Sheikh? What's divisible? So right now we're small. We only have one lawful location. After we've grown, it can branch out and to be in multiple locations. So we all won't always gather to one location.
Based on what you're explaining, it's very important that we understand not to be in a rush to be doing these festivals. We need to be
You have
in
to
a
be
pursuit
of
to buying
excellence.
some land and getting everything we need to do these festivals, but we're wanting to put the cart before the horse.
You're rushing and you're not being diligent over the details and the perfection of its execution. If you don't know what the Shekinah is, what it looked like, how it sit, what it's there for, what is its purpose, if you don't know how it's allotted, okay, on what grounds is the Shekinah divided?
So we have to have the land.
You have to have the land first.
Have to have the land first.
You have to grow your food. You have to raise your flocks.
Raise your flock, as well as you have to have the Shekinah present in order to fulfill
the Shekinah. The Shekinah
feast.
becomes present because once you buy the land, because you have to seek the instructions on how to buy the land, where to buy land. You know, some people think that the whole world is the same. And if you've never been off of the continent, then you don't know that in the land, right? I have a Bedouin birthright, personally, me, myself. Okay. If you don't know what a Bedouin birthright is, right? So I have my a legal paper from the court of law for the establishment of my birthright and my right to buy land as much as I want for the establishment of my people. See,
Yes,
this is a difference. So I'm not here talking to you as a non-indigenous person. I have my birthright back, so I am an indigenous person. I didn't get the birthright back by any easy means. There's
A
no
process to this.
easy way to do it. It required time, dedication, diligence, sacrifice, and perseverance. Showing up with a DNA test, it ain't gonna get you your birthright back.
You know,
It takes loyalty, commitment. You have to become part of the family. You have to become a part of the people. You must be regrafted back in. So the same thing that was extended to me,
it's,
I am extending it to you. I'm not asking you whether or not you're an Israelite. You have to perform the rites, the customs, the traditions. You have to build the nation here. I have the right to buy the land and establish the nation. Whether that nation is the size of one town, one block, or one city, that is completely up to who shows up. That's up to you.
you know, I have to confess, I am guilty of performing this festival improperly.
Me too. I mean, we have no choice but to perform it improperly at this state. However, I perform it every year in its time, and every year I am working towards what is necessary for the perfection. You can't keep the Passover right without first owning flocks of sheep. You can't own flocks of sheep
Unless you have the
unless you
land,
own the land. You can't own the land
unless you buy it.
unless you pay for it. And you have to have your Bedouin birthright. You need that so that you can be self governing. You must be indigenous. I'm not walking in here without indigenous recognition. Not only am I recognized as an indigenous person, but I am recognized as having the bloodline of my father's house from David exactly by kings. Exactly. So you say, well, maybe this guy is not crazy.
Right.
He's not, he's talking, but he's not talking down to us. He's not talking crazy. He's actually making some sense. He's literally saying he's got the rights to implement and establish a new government.
Because it's practical.
It's practical.
It's not
it's not
imaginary
imaginary.
and not spiritual. No, this it's practical,
It's practical.
facts.
Facts. You see? When I say I'm part of the Teta Bean tribe, people don't understand like that family is strong and throughout the entirety of the region. The region. They come from Tita. Tita means kingdom. So from the sons of Tita came forth the kingdom.
They don't know who Teeter is when you're saying Teeter.
Oh, Terra.
They don't know who that is.
Terra. You know, Terah, I guess that's how you spell it in English. Terra.
Yeah.
Abraham's father.
Yeah.
Abraham's father, his name is Kingdom. From him came the kingdom. What kingdom? Abraham. Abraham, the father of many nations. And all of Abraham's lineage took over and began to dominate the region, putting out the Nephilim colonizes from the land.
That's why we're kingdom people.
Right, you're kingdom people. Okay?
Literally.
Literally.
Literally. Yeah.
Right? Everybody in the region that come from Abraham is from the Hashemite kingdom, right? The kingdom of Shem, from Shem. Abraham received it from Shem.
Sam, yes, he did.
Okay?
Wow. You're still in 6. There you shall.
So, but in the place which Yah will choose to make his Shekinah dwell, there you shall sacrifice the Pascha, and in the evening, at the going down of the sun, you may eat it until the middle of the night. See, I told you it's the afternoon. The middle of the sun is in the afternoon. What happened? The moment the sun is not visible, if it go down behind a hill or is hidden, you may start to prepare. Once the sun goes down, okay, when the sun goes down, at the going down of the sun, you may eat it until the middle of the night. So you got from sundown to the middle of the night to eat. The time when you begin to go, out of Mitzrayim. I said that before. I said, it was in the middle of the night, the early part of the morning, when Pharaoh said, y'all got to get out. It was humiliating. They got put out. It was dark.
Yeah.
It was dark when Pharaoh told them, get their stuff and get out right now. It was a humiliating thing. They had to pack up the carts in the dark and leave in the wee hours of the morning. And you shall dress and eat it in the place which Yah, your Allah, will choose. And in the early morning, if need be, thou mayest return from the feast and go to thy cities.
You may.
Okay?
Thou mayest.
So what happens is the festival must be kept together. After the festival is kept, you can go back home. Okay? On the first day, thou shalt offer the omer. See, that's harvest.
Yes.
If you don't know what the omer is a measure of weight. Okay? You could think of it something like, say, 500 pounds. Okay? It's something like that, like a bushel or a ton. It's a measure of weight. Okay? I'm not going to go into weights and measures. There's a whole nother study on that. But an omer is a measure of weight. And what you're doing is you're harvesting and you're measuring by weight. Okay, so you get like a big bag, okay, and you fill it up, and you know when this bag is full, it weighs about an omer.
Okay.
You'll know because it's an omer bag. It's a measure of weight. Okay, you can lift it, or you can put it on a cart, or it's a bushel, or it's a basket, and 3 or 4 guys can put it on the cart. Or it's on the cart already, and you just harvest and put it on the cart. No matter what happens, you count omers. Okay? And eat unleavened cakes of the old corn. Okay? But in the remaining 6 days, you may begin to eat unleavened cakes of the new corn. And on the 7th day, you shall assemble with thanksgiving before Yah, your Allah. No work shall you perform.
Okay. So the unleavened bread is made from corn, not from corn flour, not wheat flour?
So if one, so let me help you. Let me help you
Okay.
out.
Yes, sir.
So one of the unleavened bread is cornbread. Cornbread is not made with any yeast. So one of the unleavened breads is cornbread. So we have the thin bread, that's thin like a wafer, and you have unleavened cakes. This is cornbread. Unleavened cakes of corn. This is cornbread. Sweet, unsweet, doesn't matter. No yeast, no leavening agents. Cornbread.
Wow.
Okay? So you're going to eat that. Now, the first day is the 15th, right? And you start counting the Oma. Okay? But in the 6 remaining days, you may begin to eat unleavened cakes of the new corn. So eat all the old corn, all the old corn flour, use that up. After you use that at least on the first day, on the next day you can use
Your new corn.
your new corn. Okay?
Yes, sir.
And remember, it's corn, so you're also feeding your animals, everything else. Don't be in a rush to get new corn. You know what I'm saying? Use up, don't be wasteful. Use it, wisely. And on the 7th day you shall assemble. On the 7th day you shall assemble with thanksgiving before Yah, your Allah, no work shall you perform. So remember, this is the first day. Then on the 7th day, we assemble before the Most High. Okay? So what you're going to see is you have to see this implemented. You're not going to see it implemented where you are because you can't do it. Because you're not in the location. The Most High doesn't want this performed in a foreign land because the Most High has a covenant with this land. So he keeps saying after you cross over Jordan, and people got a hard time coming to Jordan. I'm just tell it like it is. But it's okay. You can have a hard time. The Most High knows how to make the place that you think look bad look good when he's ready. And the place that you think look bad, look good,
Gonna look bad.
be bad. And bad for your health. You think what happened in East Ohio was bad? Listen. 7 weeks numbered to you from the time when you begin to put the sickle to the harvest of the field. After the reaping of the Omer, you shall begin to number the 7 weeks. So on the 15th day, you're going to have to count out 7 weeks.
Okay.
This is harvest time. I don't know how anybody can get it misconstrued because it says clearly here, you put the sickle to it. So if you have this information, you can't miss about what season this is happening in. You can't miss it. You shall begin to number the 7 weeks, and you shall keep with joy the festival of weeks before Yah, your Allah, after the measure of the free will offering of your hands, according as Yah, your Allah, shall have blessed you. So we're giving our offering now. What's our offering?
The offerings is our lambs, bullocks, the flour, the oil, all that's
Okay, so
offerings.
now when you come in, you're bringing in your crops, right? If you have olives, you're going to bring in olives, or you're bringing in the olive oil. No matter what it is you produce from this fresh harvest, you're doing your processing, you're bringing in the Omer. So what happens? You got 10 bags. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. One, the first tenth, this to the priest. This one, the ninth one, this goes now to the prince. What is this going to the prince for? This goes to the prince so that when we go to eat with the priest, we don't eat the priest's portion.
Right. Everybody will be fed from the prince's portion.
Everybody is fed from the prince's portion. The third one is still out in the field because you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 trees. You harvested 9 of the trees, and 1 tree is over in the section for gleaning, not to be harvested.
Right. So that accounts for the first, second, and third.
Right. The third one is for gleaning. It's for widows and orphans and, people who didn't obey the law and came in straggling. You like that? All right. I threw that in there. I just threw it in there like that.
Yeah, I saw it.
Yeah. So they come in and it's like, oh, they just taking food from the trees. That's where you'll find most of your disobedient, rebellious, hard-headed brothers and sisters that come in late. You'll find them with the gleaners. And then you got to get them from there, clean them up, dress them up, and start teaching them and getting them situated in the law. But that's where they end up gleaning. You'll see them right over there.
Yeah.
They're allowed to go.
Yeah, they are.
But you can tell. You just be like, who's this?
Stiff neck, hard head.
Go get that brother from over there. What? He knows he's trying to have some shame. But bring him here. I need to discuss something with him. That's how that works.
And so that's when the communication about the when I was talking about the with your brothers.
Yeah.
That's when that.
We'll be back.
Now.
All right.
Got it.
And so this is the measure of your hand of your free will offerings. So remember, all offerings you're given of your free will. Tithe, the king's portion, and the other portion that you leave. This is all free will. Then on top of the free will, right, the Most High is asking for it.
Yes.
You can give it or you cannot give it. You will receive the punishment for not giving it if you don't give it.
Right.
When you come into the next thing is Thanksgiving, this is what you want when you want to give thanks for what the Most High has blessed you with and what you're hoping to prosper in. There is an additional, your oaths, your vows. That's another separate thing. Okay? And you shall rejoice with joy.
Yes.
Of the feast before Yah, your Allah, your sons and your daughters, you and your sons and your daughters, your servants and handmaids, the Levites who are in your cities, the strangers, the orphan, and the widow who are among you, at the place which Yah, your Allah, will choose to make his Shekinah to dwell. So one of the laws of the kings is that the children of the people, right, serve the king, right? So the king of Israel is not allowed to have foreign workers, all right? Oh, Solomon had Canaanites. No, these people born here, they from here. That's why they call Canaanites. But you're not allowed to have strangers, like strange nations, working for you, right? So this is how Jeroboam ended up being in Solomon's house. He's one of the sons. He's there learning, serving the king, and in exchange being groomed for leadership. You see how that works? So servanthood is not a bad thing.
No, it's not.
right? Especially if you come in poor, if you're only going to get up to whatever level that of the person you serve, right? So if you serve under a king, then that can be your level. If you serve, the baker, you're going to be a baker. If you serve under a shepherd, you're going to be just a shepherd.
Like David, he served Saul as
And
king.
you
He
became
became
king.
king.
You go up to the level of
Who you
who you
did
serve.
serve.
Okay? Not actually get that seat.
No.
You just come up on that level. Like you get in this area, in this room. Okay? I gotta make sure because
Yeah, you gotta make it clear.
people get these crazy ambitions that don't work like that.
Yeah, I'm ready to covet and everything else.
Right. Remember that you were servants in the West. So shall you observe and perform these statutes. Okay? The Feast of Tabernacles you shall make to you 7 days, when you will have completed to gather in the corn from your threshing floor and the wine from your presses. Okay? And you shall rejoice in the joy of your feast with the clarinet and the flute, you and your sons and your daughters, your handmaids, the Levites, the stranger, the orphan, and the widow who are in your cities. So you see this? The Feast of Tabernacles you shall make to you 7 days. Now this is a separate festival. Look.
Yes, it is.
It's a separate festival.
It's a separate festival.
Okay? This is a separate festival. The Feast of Tabernacles is not counting the Yoma.
No, it's not.
We count the Yoma because we begin our harvest time. We begin our harvest time in the beginning of the fall. At the end of the Oma, there's a separate. The Feast of Tabernacles is at the end of the harvest. It's not have nothing to do with the end of the 50 days.
So that's Sukkot? Is that
Right. The Feast of
Sukkot?
Tabernacles is Sukkot. Now, the Feast of Tabernacles it is slated for the springtime. Right? And you'll see this customary tradition and custom in this land right now where people start to go out and they have their tents out.
Like now.
Right now.
Yeah, there are people across from us with their tent. This happens every year. Since I've been here, I've witnessed this.
So this happens in this season. For us, we have a commandment. We have to observe it. There's a specific week, and it is announced. There's a Feast of Tabernacle will be this week. And everybody goes out. There's no work. Everybody's camping, and it's a time of, again, remembering and living the customs and the traditions of the coming out of Egypt in tents. Okay? And there's wine.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
So remember, it says, when you have completed to gather in the corn from your threshing floors. You had worked it. You gathered it. You worked it.
Yeah. And the wine from your presses.
You see? Because you don't thresh corn. You thresh wheat. You don't thresh corn. Does anybody know anything about harvesting? No. But you don't thresh corn. To thresh it is to put it on and to like beat it. You beat wheat to get the seeds out. And to separate the wheat, you know what I'm saying, from the straw, from the straw husk, because you don't eat it. You may give it to your animals, but you don't eat it. But you don't thresh corn. Okay? You don't beat corn. You mill corn. You grind it.
Yeah, you grind it.
But you grind it into new flour. You're putting it in this places when you're done, because you're going to be working on this throughout the winter. So you got all winter to work on what you're working on. You're still bringing in your tithes. You're still working your stuff through the wintertime. When the springtime come, you're going to have a little break. The first month, you have the Festival of Trumpets. You're going to have the Festival of Atonement. And then you can have the Festival of Tabernacles too. You just said it. But it's after. It's after you finish your work during the wintertime. And you shall rejoice in the joy of your feast. Okay, I said that with musical instruments. So this is the time where we have, the bands is playing.
A party.
Yeah,
It's a party.
You something to celebrate.
Yeah.
So we got the singing, the dancing. This is.
So we get to do the electric slide when we come together.
Yeah, if you want to slide, you can slide. Okay. 7 days you shall keep the feast before Yah, your Allah, in the place which Yah, your Allah, will choose, because Yah, your Allah, will have passed you in all your provision, will have blessed you in all your provision, because Yah, your Allah, will have blessed you in all your provisions. Your provender. Your produce.
Yes.
In the land. And in all the work of your hands. And so you will be joyful in prosperity. So you will be joyful in prosperity.
Yes.
No provender.
No produce.
No produce.
No
provision. No prosperity. 3 times in the year shall all your males, all the menfolk, the menfolk, appear before the Most High. This is mandatory. The men have to appear 3 times in the year. Okay? So 3 times in the year shall all your males appear before Yah, your Allah, in the place that he will choose. At the festival of unleavened bread.
Yes.
Right? And the festival of weeks.
Yes.
And at the Feast of Tabernacles.
Yes.
Now you see the festival of weeks? That started
at the time
at the unleavened bread.
Yes.
So unleavened bread is the first week of the festival of weeks.
That's what it says.
It says start to bring in the Omer.
And eat unleavened cakes of the old corn. But in the 6 remaining days, you may begin to eat unleavened cakes of the new corn. And on the 7th day, you shall assemble with thanksgiving before Yah, your Allah. No work shall you perform. 7 weeks numbered to you. From the time when you begin to put the sickle to the harvest of the field, after the reaping of the Omer, you shall begin to number the 7 weeks.
Okay? So you have the first week is unleavened bread. Then you got 7 weeks. So the end of the festival of weeks, it usually lands around the 5th. It landed around the 5th. I forget of what the name of the month before Tibet. In the 9th month, the 3rd month. The 5th day of the 3rd month. Okay? Tibet is the 4th month. The 5th month of the 3rd month. The 5th day of the 3rd month. The festival of weeks usually line up around there. Rough estimate. Why? Because we have intercalations. The new moon can come in.
Right.
And that's when the announcement goes out that the festival day is coming up. On the 5th day of the 3rd month, the announcement is made that we're getting ready to have this festival, and it'll start on whatever day. So you're saying, how you know like that's the festival time? This birthright. I was trained for this. So I know to do it at this time because it takes time for the word to spread for people to make the observation. So I'm ahead of the days. So now these three festivals, the Festival of Weeks, unleavened bread, right? Now, if you're going to be there for unleavened bread, that automatically puts you at Pesach
Right.
because you can't travel on the Pesach
Right.
because it's Shabbat. So you have to be there before, and now you're there for the Passover. By mandating unleavened bread in the Festival of Weeks, you got this whole season of the fall where we're all working together. What are we doing? Helping each other harvest.
Wow.
And then in the springtime, in the Festival of Tabernacles, this is in the springtime now. All the men get together again. It's the Festival of Weeks. We're taking us and our sons and we have a camping trip for a week. We out in the woods for 7 days.
Wow.
Case in point, you must appear 3 times, nor must you appear before Yah, your Allah, empty of any of the requirements.
That word requirements. These are required.
So you can't appear empty of the requirements. You cannot not have everything for the festival.
And do them successfully.
You cannot, it's a law. You cannot not have the requirements for the festival. You cannot show up without everything, which means you can't observe the Feast of Weeks without fields. The fields must be in the land. The place where you have to show up is the place where the ensign is, and the ensign must be spelled out by the law, not by imagination. And if you think I'm making it up, you get the book. Get it. Get the book. You know what I'm saying? Buy the book, read it for yourself, and see what the ensign is supposed to be in Numbers chapter 3. Get it. You know, this is why nobody, because if you want to debate me, if you want to say my doctrine is false, if you want to say that I'm wrong, fine. Get the book. Get the book. And then you do your own comparison on your own free time and draw your own conclusion while you have time.
You know, the other book specifically says, nor must you appear before your Allah empty-handed. But here it says empty of any
Of the
of the requirements. So you have to have all that which is required.
You have to have
to do it. So you got to have the land. You have to have
the produce,
the livestock. You got to have
everything.
all of this
in count. So the count is based upon, like the count right here is based upon the size of the nation. Okay? The count is based upon the size of the nation. So if it says I'm supposed to have X amount of bullocks for X amount of tribes, I also have to have X amount of people for that bullock to feed. One bullock feeds 400 people. One cow. All right. Everyone after the measure of the gifts of his hand. So you don't have to have all of it for yourself. If you just the wheat guy, You're going to bring
The wheat.
the omers of wheat. We're going to help you harvest the omers of wheat. We are working together. If you're going to have corn, we help you harvest the corn.
Right.
So you divide out into teams of workers and everybody is working together. This is the work that me and my brothers are preparing for. It don't matter whether I get the multitude or not. I was never promised a great multitude. I really wasn't. I wasn't promised to be famous in your eyes or to the world. I wasn't promised to be one of this world's celebrities. The next generation will appreciate the work that I'm putting down today, and they will forget about you. You will not be known. You will not be remembered. They will not remember Bob, Tom, Floyd. They're not going to remember 50. They're not remembering Jay. They're not remembering. It will not be remembered. They're not remembering Kanye. They're not going to know about the mystical sky nigga. It's not going to be remembered. That's why I said they worship the mysticals. I'm saying it now because they're not going to know the name. They're not going to know anything. It's going to be forgotten. It's all going to be erased. All of it's going to be erased. The only thing that's going to remain is the customs and the traditions. And you're just going to be one of the multitude that died in your sin. If you think it's a game, go check it. The Most High, here's something to check. The Most High says he shakes the loins of kings with the Medes. That's Medo-Persia. Persia is Iran. Why does the Most High love a Muslim country? You better go check it. This war with Iran is about to happen, and you're sitting on the target. Enjoy what you're about to see. I'm not with you. I'm not. I'm not for you either. I side with the member. I'm against you. I'm against you because you won't obey. I'm against you because you won't hear and do, which is the instruction. So I'm against you too, which is why it feels like I'm throwing rocks, because if you sit beside me and learn, you'll see the Most High's way is right. The place where we are is right. The thing that we are doing is correct. It is what is needed. And waiting for an idol to save you, I'm with you. The idol didn't save you during the riots of the civil rights movement. The idol didn't save you from slavery. It didn't save you. It doesn't save you from the police. It don't save you from the vaccine. The idol doesn't save you from anything, and you cleave unto it. You deserve everything you got coming. Deuteronomy 16 and 18. Upright judges and efficient administrators you shall appoint in all your cities. See?
Yeah.
See that word?
Yes.
Yashar.
Yeah,
Upright.
right.
Straight. It cannot be crooked.
Yes.
Which is why ambition don't work.
Right.
That's why they can't come in with ambition. Because if I was offering out king titles,
they'd be flooding.
Oh yeah, they'd be flooded. Like this, there's a company out here that sells titles, right?
Yeah.
They sell you like an inch of land in in Scotland, and they say, well, if you want, you could put a tree on it, and it's your land, and they give you the title and the deed, and you become Lord somebody. Yeah, you see, they'll buy that. They got Snoop.
Oh yeah, they love it.
They got Snoop promoting it. I say you need to come back to the family and buy your land back. No, no. All right. You not upright. You crooked. You wicked. That's what it says. So we are supposed to appoint upright. That means I can't appoint none of the false teachers. I can't appoint none of these false believers, these believers in the mystical sky, nigga. I cannot appoint, you know what I'm saying, people who lack loyalty. I cannot appoint people who will not follow the instruction all the way through.
Who ain't willing to walk?
I can't follow them. So I can't appoint them. So now you see why, though I can, the instruction says don't.
Mm-hmm.
All right. In all your cities which Yah, your Allah, will give you for your tribes, and they shall judge the people with true judgment. So they don't have true judgment. I know, because they didn't come here for no teaching. They didn't come here for no training. They got it already. We're going to test who's got what. Okay? You shall not set judgment aside. So you can't say nobody can judge me, because everybody's judging you. And we don't set judgment aside. How many times you heard me say that? Don't set your judgment aside. Don't lay your judgment down. Judge everything according to the law.
That's right.
And you have to state whether you're in agreement with what somebody says or in disagreement with somebody says when you hear it. You have to speak it.
Yes. Over and over.
I say it, right?
Yes, you do.
All right. There's a reason.
That's all I know to do now.
Yeah.
To judge everything.
Nor respect persons. So whether you rich or poor.
Yes.
Whether you have 1,000 men with you or tens of thousands or none. No respect of persons. The judgment sits, the law sits where it sits. Period. Nor take a gift, because a gift blindeth the eyes of the wise who take it. So if you are wise and you take a gift, it blinds your eyes.
Yes, it does.
If you are wise and you take a gift, it blinds your eyes. For it perverteth them to foolishness and confuses equitable words in the mouth of the judge in the hour of their decision. You see that?
I see it.
It causes confusion in his mouth. He cannot no longer talk the way he should because he has taken the gift. So now he don't want to bring judgment against the person because then the person want their gift back. Now you see why I don't make it sound like they should be here? Because they think they giving me a gift.
Yeah.
When I say give to the building,
right,
they think they giving me a gift. I ain't giving nobody giving me a gift because I got my own. And I've always had my own, and I give all that I have to the building.
Right.
They don't see that though.
No, they don't.
That's why I don't talk to them. We'll be back. All right. So you see, that's why I don't accept gifts. You see what I'm saying?
Yes, sir.
There's a difference between a gift and help.
Yes, it is.
Okay? If somebody is going to help, that's absolutely fine. That's help. That means you know I don't have it and I can't give it back. Okay?
Yeah.
If somebody is given a gift, well, this is for a reason, right? A gift comes with a string attached to it. I'm giving you a gift because you're my friend and you see things the way I see
it. Yeah, I've witnessed that.
And then the moment you don't see things this way, you're not my friend no more.
Yep, I've experienced that. Even take stuff back that they give you.
Oh, yeah, so now you see.
Yeah.
So the gift is the bribe.
Yes, it is.
All gifts are bribes. Okay?
Yes, sir.
So when I say that, I don't want you to understand with no type of confusion. I want you to be very clear. This is why brides receive gifts from the husband. Okay? This is why the father receives the dowry. Okay?
Wow.
It's the law of exchange.
Yes.
So now, because I'm taking this from you, I'm giving this.
Mm-hmm.
There's an exchange.
Yes.
It's the same as a bribe.
Bribe.
I'm rewarding you for your decision. You understand?
Yes, I do.
This is a law. I'm not saying that it's a bad thing.
No.
I'm just saying the way men were made, there must be fair exchange. There must be equitable trade. That's the way all men are made.
Yes, sir.
So I ain't got no tongue. I just want you to know.
Yes, sir.
So if he give you something, it's for a reason. Okay? So if I say you're giving to rebuild and reestablish the kingdom to buy back the land so that we may dwell upon it. The person giving, if they think they're giving it to me, and then they come here and they believe they can keep their beliefs, they can keep their understandings, they can do what they want, how they want, or according to how they see it.
Don't come.
Don't come. Because in the day I give the law and the instruction and you disobey, your life on the line. That's why they don't want to come.
Yeah. They want to do what they
And
want.
I don't want them here because they have no regard for the traditions, the customs, or the law. This is the same wicked generation that came out of Egypt. They came out just like this before. So the only way for them to come out properly is through a purge.
Understood.
That's why the Most High says, I'll take you out of the lands where you live now, but you won't come into my land. I will bring the ones I want into my land.
So that's why he don't want everybody.
Exactly. Upright and perfect judgment in truth shalt thou follow. See?
Yes, sir.
It says follow. That means there's a leader. They also don't want upright leadership. They want to be rich. They want to be bribed. They want gifts and lavish things. They don't want upright leadership. They don't want it.
And then, hate to say this, but you got those that want the rulership but don't want to be upright.
See? So now let's see. Watch this. Upright and perfect judgment in truth shalt thou follow, that you may come to inherit the land which Yah your Allah will give you. This is why my brothers
Okay.
are coming. And my other brother, who's like the Gentiles, not coming. I'm telling you, this is why. You see it? I'm reading straight through the book, right?
Sure is.
I'm reading straight through. So if I'm doing something wrong, it's going to hit me too.
Right.
And I don't cut no tail, no slack about it. It is what it is. As it is not allowed you to plant a grove by the side of Yah's altar, so is it not allowed you to associate in judgment a fool with a wise judge, to teach that which you are to do. See? See? That's why I don't talk to him. Look, you're not allowed to plant a grove by the side of the Most High's altar. What does that mean? It's not allowed you to associate in judgment a fool with a wise judge. So if you're coming to learn the judgments, stop talking to these fools.
Hear loud and clear.
See? Don't talk to these fools to teach that which they are to do. Why? Because we're given the teachings over a free network. We are putting up hours of teaching every day. Look at the views. You know YouTube not paying us.
We're not popular.
If they putting up an advertisement, they keeping the money. I'm not seeing nothing. I ain't got no views to collect no money. Nothing. So I'm not paid. I'm putting up hours of material every day. This is to teach you. But we have no association. You know why? Because you a fool. You. That's why I'm associating with you. As it is not for you to erect a statue. You see that? So, you're not supposed to make a form or a figure. Oh, this person is. You're not supposed to erect a statue. So are you not to appoint to be a governor a proud man, whom Yah your Allah does abhor. See? He don't want a proud man that he hates. It doesn't matter. If you see the man so discord, jumps off a deep end, is rash in judgment and in reasoning, Most High hates those who sow discord. Why would you associate with them? Not supposed to. Well, that's the end of chapter 16. That's it. I'm going to stop right there.
Okay.
That's it. You know what I'm saying? We'll start with chapter 17 tomorrow.
Yeah.
We working our way down. We halfway there. We got to chapter 34. We at 17. We are halfway there.
Yes, we are.
So now, like I said, we down the home stretch. And then, after this finished testifying against you, we can start doing judgments. We're going to judge the first ones like the Lord stated. So we're going to start having classes and doing our case studies. Everybody's a paralegal now. We're going to start doing case studies and judgments. Now, if you can't stand me, just turn me off. It's all right. It's only your life. It's your life to live. Go lose it. It's okay. We're going to finish this law. You're guilty. Okay? And so is every other black person you know. Right? And I don't care whether they in Africa or anywhere else in the world. Any son of Jacob, every son of Jacob right now is guilty, including me. Because according to the law, all of our problems are my fault because my family failed to give you instruction and to lead you with true judgment this entire time. So that's what it is. That's what it is. It's okay by me. I don't care. I'm good.
Yeah, I'm good.
You see?
Yes, sir.
We ain't gonna plant no groves over here.
No.
It's gonna be empty. We're gonna leave the fools at home.
Yes.
Leave a fool to his folly.
Yes.
And that's what it's going to be. And I'm good with that. I'm happy. That's chapter 16. We almost to 34. Then we can start back and start judging from the very, very beginning with the law. So we're going to read some events, and then check and verify what the law says about the situation. Okay? And we're going to go back and forth. And then from there, we're going to say, oh my goodness, I didn't know that. I didn't see. So before we practice any judgments, we had to first read
Read
the
the
law.
law. Yes.
And after we get to judging the first ones, I want you to know it ain't gonna be a long time because I got work to do. I got fields to plant. You know what I'm saying? It's the springtime is starting to break. I got to make sure I get to sowing and take care of the first ones that come out before the war. Well, when's the war coming, huh? September? I mean, as it's moving now, I can guesstimate around August, September time. Guesstimation. Guesstimation, but it'll definitely see it sometime around the fall. And if you check, they'll tell you right now, they're looking at next year winter anyway because their stores are getting low, right? So they want to beef it up. So you'll see. I'm done. One step at a time, one day at a time. I'll see y'all tomorrow. I love reading this law though every day. You know what I'm saying? And I know this is painful for some of y'all because some of y'all really wish you could be right. I'm telling you how, but you may not yet believe it. You may need to see some destruction. You may need to see your family and friends and loved ones die. You may need to lose some family members. You may need to lose some close ones, some loved ones. You may need to get, you know what I'm saying, shipped off to another country because where you live is no longer livable and they have to evacuate. You may need to see that. And since that's what you need to see, so be it. As my brother used to say, Kadima Ya Umila. Straightforward to Ya.